The ground starts shaking. Sky turns black at noon. Wall of dirt 5,000 feet high racing toward you at 60 miles per hour. You cannot outrun it. You cannot hide from it. In 45 minutes, your entire world disappears under tons of airborne soil. This is not a Hollywood movie. This happened. Multiple times. To real cities. To real people. 7 times nature unleashed dust and sand so violently that entire settlements vanished, thousands died, and civilizations collapsed. What you are about to hear is documented, verified, true. Tel Leyland, northern Mesopotamia. The Akkadian Empire controls everything from the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf. 2400 BC to 2200 BC. Peak power. Sargon of Akkad unites the city-states, creates the world's first empire. Irrigation feeds the masses. Northern grain feeds the armies. The capital Akkad itself has never been found, buried somewhere under Iraqi sand. But we know it existed. We know it ruled. Then the sky changes color. Winter arrives, but the rain does not. Dust begins to blow, not for days, for decades, for 3 centuries. The Akkadian Empire territory spans from what we now call Syria through Iraq to Turkey. The northern plains, the breadbasket, depend entirely on rainfall. Annual rainfall normally feeds wheat and barley, feeds livestock, feeds armies marching to expand territory. The empire linked remote rain-fed agricultural lands of northern Mesopotamia with irrigation-based southern city-states. That connection made it powerful, made it wealthy, made it vulnerable. When that rain stops, the topsoil dries. When the wind picks up, that soil becomes a weapon. Fossil corals from the Gulf of Oman tell the story. Researchers from Hokkaido University sampled 6 corals 4,100 years old from coastal deposits, specifically Porides corals from northeastern Oman coast. Tsunami deposits preserved them. Radiocarbon dating confirmed the timeline. Geochemical analysis showed they had not been altered from present state. The coral data was compared to modern coral samples and meteorological information. The match was perfect. The empire's collapse window aligned exactly with climate data frozen in coral. What killed it? Shamals, dust storms. Winter shamals specifically. Prolonged cold winter season, frequent shamal days. These are not gentle breezes. These are walls of choking dust propelled by cold winds from the north. Modern shamals in the region can reduce visibility to near zero, can halt all transportation, can make breathing dangerous. 4,000 years ago, they lasted not hours but seasons. Not seasons, but decades. The impact? Agricultural catastrophe, social instability, famine. Cave stalagmites from Golizard. Cave in Iran provide the smoking gun. The cave sits in shadow of Mount Damavand. More than 5,000 meters high. Dominates landscape of northern Iran. The cave sits directly downwind from the deserts of Syria and Iraq. 90% of the dust in that cave originated from Mesopotamian deserts. Wind patterns funnel dust from Syrian and Iraqi deserts directly into this cave system. Researchers extracted magnesium concentrations from the stalagmites, measured them precisely. Higher magnesium means more desert dust. More dust means drier conditions. The chemistry does not lie. Desert limestone contains high magnesium. Local cave limestone does not. By measuring magnesium ratios, researchers determined exact dustiness of cave floor at specific periods. Uranium-thorium chronology dated the deposits precisely. This method is accurate to within decades. 2 major drought periods emerged from the data. 4,510 years ago, lasting 110 years. 4,260 years ago, lasting 290 years. That second period hits exactly when the Akkadian Empire collapses. Not approximately, exactly. The dates match archaeological evidence within measurement error. The archaeological evidence backs it up. Multiple Akkadian cities in the northern plains show sudden abandonment. No gradual decline, sudden. People just left. Food stores left behind. Tools abandoned in place. Houses sealed but not destroyed. They expected to return. They never did. Harvey Weiss excavated Tel Leyland in northeast Syria starting in the 1970s. What he found chilled every archaeologist who saw it. A buried layer of windblown silt so barren that earthworms could not survive in it. 300 years without earthworms. Think about that. Earthworms are survivors. They process organic material, create soil structure. When soil is too toxic, too dust-choked, even for earthworms, nothing can grow. The layer of silt measured in excavation trenches, consistent across the entire site. Microscopic analysis of soil showed it came from wind deposition, not flood deposit, not human fill. Wind, carrying dust for generations. A Mesopotamian text called the Curse of Akkad describes what happened. Written sometime after the collapse, preserved on clay tablets. Large arable tracts yielded no grain. Inundated fields yielded no fish. Irrigated orchards yielded no syrup or wine. Thick clouds did not rain. At sanctuaries, cows slaughtered no cows. Sheep pens offered no sheep. This is not poetry. This is documentation of climate catastrophe. Agricultural output dropped to zero. The text continues. People wandered the streets. Those who slept on roofs died on roofs. Those who slept in houses had no burial. People were flailing at themselves from hunger. When the northern breadbasket failed, the empire starved. The army could not be fed. Key supporters received no food redistribution. Civil turmoil erupted. Mass migration from north to south began. The southern populations resisted. They built a wall, 180 kilometers long, between the Tigris and Euphrates, the repeller of the Amorites, to keep climate refugees out. The Gudians invaded. Mesopotamia fell into chaos. By 2100 BC, the third dynasty of Ur took over. Power shifted back to the Sumerians. The Akkadian experiment ended, not because of bad leadership, not because of military defeat alone, because the dust storms came and never stopped. First empire in history, killed by dust. Also comment from which city you are hearing this from. This script is researched and factual using sources from peer-reviewed studies published in the journal Geology by Hokkaido University researchers Takaki Watanabe and Tsuyoshi Watanabe in October 2019, and paleoclimatic reconstructions published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences analyzing Iranian cave deposits, providing high-resolution records of dust activity between 5,200 and 3,700 years ago. Now back to the information. Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, 340 meters by 310 meters, walled royal city. Later, a Chinese garrison town, 14,000 people at its height, 3,000 soldiers guarding the kingdom. Population breakdown from Han Dynasty records. Soldiers, merchants. Farmers, fishermen, craftspeople, government officials, Buddhist monks, oasis traversed by a river. The Tarim River once flowed nearby, bountiful lake, Lop Nor, then one of the largest lakes in China, now a salt flat, fishing, hunting. Trading post for silks, teas, fruit, jewels traveling from inland China westward along Silk Road routes. Merchants stop here, rest, replenish, conduct business. The kingdom flourishes for 8 centuries. Established around 176 BC, some sources say earlier. Kingdom of Laolan, also known as Korena in ancient texts. Chinese historical records mention it repeatedly. Book of Han, Book of Later Han, records of Grand Historian, all reference Laolan. Strategic importance immense. Controls access between northern and southern Silk Road routes. Whoever controls Luland controls trade. Then humans make a fatal mistake. Deforestation, unceasing. The trees that anchored the soil disappear. Tamarisk trees, poplar trees, saxaul shrubs, all provide windbreaks, all hold sand in place. When they are cut for firewood, for building materials, for clearing farmland, the desert advances. The land becomes exposed, vulnerable. Around 630 AD, nature responds. Raging sandstorms. Some sources suggest the city was abandoned even earlier, by 420 AD. The timeline debated by scholars, but abandonment is certain. The Swedish explorer Sven Hedin rediscovers Lulan on March 28, 1900. Not intentionally. He is leading expedition in desert region near Lop Nor. They lose their only iron shovel. Hedin orders local guide to look for shovel instantly. Guide goes back alone. A sandstorm hits during his search. When storm calms down, Guide finds himself standing in ruins of ancient town. Walls protruding from sand, wooden beams exposed, pottery shards everywhere. He returns to camp. Reports discovery. 1 year later, 1901, Hedin returns with full excavation team, explores site, collects valuable objects and documents. These discoveries testified to great importance in understanding complex history of this section of Silk Road. Near Lop Nor, he finds ruins of a former walled city, 340 by 310 meters, rectangle shape, almost perfect, contains a brick building of a Chinese military commander, well preserved considering age, a stupa, Buddhist religious structure, 19 dwellings built of poplar wood, wood preserved by extreme dryness. Taklamakan Desert is one of the driest places on Earth. Annual rainfall less than 10 millimeters in some areas. That dryness preserved what moisture would have destroyed. The city is basically square. Covers 108,000 square meters, about 27 acres. Not massive by modern standards, but substantial for ancient desert settlement. In the northeast corner stands the tallest structure, a dilapidated Buddhist stupa about 10.4 meters high. Still impressive, still recognizable. Built of mud, brick, and wood. Nearby the 3-room house, called Sanjin Feng in Chinese, government office, yamen of the area's governor according to researchers. where a treasure trove of inscribed wooden slips and paper documents is found. These are the gold. Written in Kharoshthi script, in Chinese characters, in Prakrit language, administrative documents, military orders, personal letters, shopping lists, customs records. These fragments tell daily life, tell governance, tell trade patterns. Aurel Stein, Hungarian-British archaeologist, makes further excavations in 1906 and 1914, 2 separate expeditions. He names sites LA through LT based on chronological discovery order, L for Lulan, alphabetical sequence for different locations around the main site. Site LA is main city, LB through LT are surrounding settlements and structures, all part of broader Lulan cultural region. Recovers many artifacts, documents in multiple languages, a wool pile carpet fragment showing sophisticated weaving, yellow silk indicating luxury trade goods. Gandharan architectural wood carvings proving cultural exchange with regions far to west. Gandhara is in modern Pakistan and Afghanistan. Its artistic style reaching Lulan shows how far trade networks extended. The discoveries tell the story. Stone and jade tools from the Neolithic Age. 10,000 BC to 5,000 BC. Manuscripts from the Han Dynasty. 206 BC to 220 AD. Silk, pottery, bronzeware, glassware, ancient currency. A 3,800-year-old mummy. The beauty of Lulan, found in 1980. 5,717 cultural relics now in the Lulan Museum in Rokyang County, the only Lulan-themed museum in the world. Opened 2011. What happened here was gradual burial, not a single storm. Centuries of sandstorms slowly swallowing the structures. The Lopnur Salt Lake desiccated, the river dried up, the protected vegetation gone from deforestation. The sand had nothing to stop it. Wooden slips and paper somehow survived in the dry conditions. The city became known as the Oriental Pompeii. A 2020 restoration project took 170 days. Experts worked in scorching heat and suffocating sandstorms to repair the stupa and 3-room house. Rangers now guard the ruins. 42-year-old Ma Zhuang says they put up with loneliness, sandstorms, searing heat. Life is bitter, but he has learned to enjoy it. The ruins sit on the eastern fringe of the Taklamakan, near the now desiccated Lop Nur, dubbed the Oriental Pompeii because sand preserved it like volcanic ash preserved the Roman city. Ancient Silk Road travelers knew this place, then it disappeared. Forgotten, lost to sand for over a millennium, only revealed when modern explorers stumbled upon it by accident. The city that once controlled a Silk Road junction, swallowed by the desert it once thrived beside. Southern plains of the United States, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, the Dust Bowl region, already suffering, already desperate. The day starts clear, warm, blue sky, temperatures in the 80s, 82 in Dodge City, Kansas, 84 in Amarillo, Texas, wind completely still. Unusual for the plains, wind always blows. But this morning nothing, dead calm. After weeks of dust storms, people let down their guard, let children go outside to play. They go outside, do chores, go to church. It is Palm Sunday, picnic. Enjoy the unexpected warmth. By mid-afternoon, birds begin chattering nervously. Flocking behavior changes. They sense what humans cannot yet see. Temperature drops, suddenly, 10 degrees in 30 minutes. Then the horizon changes. To the north, a huge black cloud appears. Not rain cloud, not storm cloud. Solid, dense. Approaching fast, moving at 60 miles per hour. Some observers said it looked like a mountain, a moving mountain of black dirt. Others said it looked like the end of the world. Ed and Ada Phillips and their 6-year-old daughter are driving near Boise City, Oklahoma. Around 5:15 p.m. local time. They see the wall coming. Try to outrun it. Cannot. Have to stop. Take shelter in an abandoned adobe hut beside the road. 10 other people already huddled there. 12 people total in 2-room ruin. 4 hours in complete darkness. Cannot see hand in front of face. Fearing suffocation. Breathing through wet cloths. Dust filtering through every crack. Coating everything. Lungs burning. Eyes stinging. No one speaks. Just waiting. Wondering if they will survive. Raymond Elsesser's wife is driving home in her car. Near Waynoka, Oklahoma, around 4 p.m., her car shorts out from static electricity. Engine dies. Electrical system fried by charge and dust-filled air. She decides to walk 3/4 of a mile to their house. Should take 15 minutes. In the blinding dust, she wanders off the road. Cannot see road. Cannot see fence posts. Cannot see anything. Her husband realizes she is missing. Drives back and forth frantically along the road. Headlights on full. The moving headlights of his truck eventually guide her back. She is coated head to toe in dust, barely recognizable. 13-year-old Harley Holiday in Dodge City tries to bring in laundry. The cloud hits him outside. He cannot see anything at all. The wall of dust originated in central Nebraska around 9:30 a.m. Grand Island experiences northerly wind shift. Visibilities drop to 1/4 mile. Gusty winds persist all day. The front passes through Goodland, Kansas around midday, through Dodge City around 3 p.m. At 3 p.m., Dodge City temperature is 84 degrees. North wind 15 miles per hour. Zero visibility. Temperature falls to the 60s, then 50s. North to northeast winds 20 to 30 miles per hour. Visibilities near zero for hours. At Stratford, Texas, another duster black as night at 5:40. Stayed so for 20 minutes, then visibility about 10 feet. Stayed that way all night. Weather Bureau log at Dodge City records. The onrushing cloud, the darkness, and the thick, choking dirt made this storm one of terror and the worst, while it lasted, ever known here. The storm moved at 50 to 60 miles per hour. Traveled 800 miles from central Nebraska to near the Mexican border by 4 a.m. April 15. The wall was estimated at 500 to 600 feet in height. Instant darkness. People could not see their hand in front of their face. Static electricity killed wheat crops. Green wheat turned brown. Dead. Lucian Dahl, 14 years old, working on a Kansas farm, notices black clouds on the horizon, wall of dust approaching quickly. He unhooks his horse team, runs them 1/4 mile to the barn, reaches the stable just as dust envelops him. After securing horses, he cannot see the house 50 yards away. When storm passes, he finds crops reduced to stubble, dead cattle standing upright, lungs filled with dirt. They died standing, could not lie down, suffocated while standing, roads buried 2 feet deep, sand covering fences. 20-foot dunes pressing against buildings, some houses completely buried to the roofline, cars buried to windows, farm equipment disappeared under sand. Dust storms had been common for years. 1932 saw 14 major dust storms. 1933 saw 38. 1934 saw even more. But this decade is the Dust Bowl. 1930 to 1940, 10 years of hell. Rising wheat prices in 1910s and 1920s encouraged farmers to plow up millions of acres of native grassland. Deep-rooted buffalo grass and blue grama grass that held soil for millennia. Ripped up, replaced with shallow-rooted wheat. World War I increased demand for wheat. European fields devastated by war, American farmers filled the gap, plowed more, planted more, made money. When Great Depression hit, wheat prices collapsed. From $2.66 per bushel in 1929 to 25 cents per bushel by 1932. 90% drop. Farmers tore up even more grassland trying to break even, plant more to make same money. Vicious cycle. Drought began in 1931, 8 years. 1931 through 1939. Some areas got less than 50% normal rainfall for entire period. Bare, overplowed farmland exposed. Without deep-rooted prairie grasses, the soil blew away. 1 inch of topsoil takes between 500 and 1,000 years to form naturally. Farmers destroyed it in a decade. November 11, 1933. A very strong dust storm stripped topsoil from South Dakota farmlands. Just one of a series that year. November through May, steady drumbeat of storms. But Black Sunday was different. It was the culmination, the mother of all dusters. 300,000 tons of topsoil displaced from prairie areas in single storm. By 1935, an estimated 850 million tons of topsoil blown eastward from Dust Bowl, 770 million metric tons. That soil did not disappear. It went somewhere, into lungs, into rivers, into the Atlantic Ocean, changed the ecosystem thousands of miles away. The human cost was staggering. Kansas alone reported 20 deaths from dust pneumonia and dust suffocation on Black Sunday. Red Cross officials documented this. Dust pneumonia resulted when lungs filled with dust. People tried to protect themselves, rubbing Vaseline into nostrils, wearing respiratory masks, sealing windows, hanging wet sheets over doorways. Hundreds and possibly thousands died anyway. Constant inhalation of harmful dust particles. Infant mortality soared. Birth rates dropped to lowest in United States history. More than 3 million people abandoned farms and businesses, left the plains penniless. Those who stayed suffered. Hunger so severe they ate tumbleweeds. Suicides. Multiple. The day after, Black Sunday Associated Press reporter Robert Geiger coined the term Dust Bowl. The name stuck. 13 days later, April 27, 1935. Congress passed the Soil Conservation Act, established Soil Conservation Service's permanent USDA agency to guide landowners in reducing soil erosion, improving forest and field land, conserving and developing natural resources, led to Great Plains Shelter Belt Project. President Roosevelt established agreement with Canada, More than 200 million trees replanted across hardest-hit states. The storms finally ended in 1939. Rain returned, drought ended, improved farming techniques prevented repeat. But the scars remained. By 1940, counties that experienced most erosion had greater decline in agricultural land values. Per acre value of farmland declined 28% in high erosion counties. More than 75% of topsoil and plains removed by storms. Black Sunday was the worst. The day the sky turned solid black. The day thousands thought the world was ending. The day nature proved what happens when you remove the grasslands that hold the soil down. Another massive dust storm. This one travels even farther. Reaches places Black Sunday never touched. Montana and Wyoming. High-level winds catch brownish earth swirling from ground. Catches updrafts from thunderstorms. Carries it eastward into jet stream. More dirt picked up along the way. Every state it crosses contributes. North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, 350 million tons roaring toward urban settlements in the east, 317 million metric tons, storm 1,800 miles long, 2,900 kilometers, 600 miles wide, nearly 1,000 kilometers, 1,800 miles traveled from origin to final dissipation. By late afternoon, May 9th reaches Dubuque, Iowa, and Madison, Wisconsin. Residents step outside to find sky turning brown, strange smell, gritty taste in mouth. Dust settling on everything. By evening, dumps 12 million pounds of dust on Chicago, 5,400 tons, 4 pounds for each person in the city. Imagine 4 pounds of dust per person, per household, in streets, on cars, in buildings. Not the relatively insignificant kind that accumulates around houses, topsoil, rich black earth, parched to dust by drought, blown out of Great Plains by a strong storm system originating on West Coast. Low pressure system moved across Rockies, picked up speed, generated powerful winds aloft. Those winds at 5,000 to 10,000 feet altitude scoured the dried plains, lifted billions of particles, suspended them, carried them east. 2 days later, same storm reaches Cleveland, Ohio, Buffalo, New York, Boston, Massachusetts, New York City, Washington, D.C. East Coast completely blanketed. Monuments like Statue of Liberty and United States Capitol blotted out. Ships in New York Harbor report visibility less than 1 mile. Pilots refuse to fly, too dangerous, cannot see ground, cannot navigate. Dust works its way into most sealed homes. Seals do not matter. Dust finds every crack, every gap. Coating food, skin, furniture. Everything tastes gritty. Everything smells like earth. Women spend days cleaning. Next day, more dust. Snowplows brought out in some locales to clear roads. Dust so deep, traffic cannot pass. Street sweepers overwhelmed. Give up. Wait for wind to move it. Dust takes 6 hours to pass over Manhattan. May 11th afternoon through evening, brings city to a halt. Cab drivers stop repeatedly to remove dirt from windshields. Wipers cannot handle it. Too thick. Too dense. Commercial airplanes grounded. Low visibility, one factor. Fears engines choked with dust, another. Airlines cancel flights. Passengers stranded. May 14 ships, 300 miles off United States coast, report dust on their decks. Atlantic Ocean. Sailors find prairie soil on ship railings. On-deck equipment. Unbelievable. That winter, 1934 to 35, red snow falls on New England. Dust mixed with snow, pink tinted, rust-colored. New England had never seen anything like it. Ski resorts confused. Snowpackable but wrong color. Children make snowmen with pinkish tint. By 1934, 75% of country under drought conditions. 27 states experiencing severe drought. Dust storm reaches height of 1,500 to 1,800 meters. Leading edge stretches 100 miles. Deposits 12 million pounds on Chicago, 5,400 tons. Continues to Atlanta. Peak hourly particulate matter, 10, and particulate matter, 2.5 concentrations, unprecedented. The May storm came as Hugh Hammond Bennett was testifying before Congress. Bennett was advocating for soil conservation. As he testified, he learned a great dust storm was heading toward East Coast. Storm already deposited 12 million pounds on Chicago, poised to descend on nation's capital. Bennett used every stalling tactic. Managed to keep committee in session until dark gloom settled on Washington. This gentleman, he announced, is what I have been talking about. For first time, Easterners smelled, breathed, and tasted dust blowing off southern plains. Until then, dust storms were Great Plains problem, rural problem. May storm made it everyone's problem. Urban centers coated, air quality catastrophic. For years, federal government regarded soil as limitless, indestructible resource. Washington now put full weight and authority behind soil conservation. Administration produced provocative film about causes of Dust Bowl. By 1935, 35 million acres of formerly cultivated land made useless for farming. Another 125 million acres rapidly losing topsoil, area about 3/4 size of Texas. President Roosevelt's Drought Committee issued a report covering government assistance to agriculture during 1934 through mid-1935. Discussed conditions, measures of relief, organization, finances, operations, results. Federal government bought and destroyed thousands of starving cattle. $16 for cow, $3 for calf, devastating for farmers who milked those cows, saw their big kind eyes, furnished milk and food. To see them led off knowing that was the end, pretty sad, one farmer recalled. Food redistribution programs established, agricultural commodities diverted to relief organizations, apples, beans, canned beef, flour, pork products distributed through local relief channels. But storms kept coming. Urban America now understood. Dust could travel thousands of miles. Could choke entire cities. Could turn day into night anywhere. The May storm proved dust respects no boundaries. Arabic word meaning strong wind or phenomenon. Borrowed from Sudan, where these storms are common. Storm traveling 50 to 60 miles per hour, 80 to 97 kilometers per hour, peak visibility, quarter mile to nothing, 0 in most places. Trained weather spotters report cannot see 5 feet ahead, cannot see hood of own car. Storm leaves behind, path of dust, debris, muddy swimming pools, trees uprooted throughout metro area, power lines down in multiple neighborhoods, cars sandblasted, paint stripped from vehicles, windshields pitted. Airplanes huddled on tarmac, unable to fly. Sky Harbor International Airport shuts down operations. More than 10,000 customers without power at height of storm, according to Arizona Public Service. Outages concentrated in Tempe, Mesa, and East Phoenix. Crews unable to respond immediately. Too dangerous, too low visibility. Strong thunderstorms developed east of Tucson during afternoon. Monsoon season, North American monsoon active. Storms intensified, progressing west into Tucson metropolitan area. Multiple cells merged, became supercell. Produced downburst winds exceeding 70 miles per hour, 113 kilometers per hour, measured at Tucson International Airport. Microburst recorded. Wind shear extreme. Aided by gravity, Tucson approximately 1,500 feet, 460 meters higher than Phoenix. Strong outflow winds raced northwest. Downslope component added to wind speed. Leading edge moving 30 to 40 miles per hour, 48 to 64 kilometers per hour. By 6:30 p.m., first calls came to National Weather Service Phoenix. Large wall of dust approaching Casa Grande/Eloy area, roughly 50 miles 80 kilometers southeast of downtown Phoenix. Weather spotters trained volunteers saw it first, reported immediately. National Weather Service issued local dust storm warning, 6:32 p.m. Expanded warning for East Valley, 6:55 p.m. Nearly all Phoenix area, 7:21 p.m. Ongoing drought across region critical factor. Most recent United States drought monitor placed area between Tucson and Phoenix in moderate to extreme drought, D1 to D3 classification. Rainfall since end of last summer less than 50% of normal, some areas only 30%, soil moisture depleted, vegetation sparse, perfect conditions for dust mobilization. At 7 p.m., leading edge hit far southeast portions of Phoenix area. Dust continued pushing through entire metropolitan area next 2 hours. Trained spotters inundated National Weather Service with reports. Literally 0 visibility, winds gusting 30 to 50 miles per hour. Few measured gusts approached 70 miles per hour. Storm reached peak height of at least 5,000 to 6,000 feet, 1,500 to 1,800 meters. Aerial coverage expansive. Leading edge stretching almost 100 miles. Distance traveled at least 150 miles. Photographer Mike Olbinski shot famous photos and viral time-lapse video. Giant wall of dust enveloping valley, posted online with title, Massive Haboob Hits Phoenix. Most insane, epic, post-apocalyptic wall of dust ever seen here, Olbinski said. If there is ever a hey boob that happened in Arizona, this is it. Peak hourly particulate matter, 10 concentration, 1,974 micrograms per cubic meter. Particulate matter, 2.5, concentration 907 micrograms per cubic meter at United States Environmental Protection Agency stations near Phoenix. Enhanced aerosol loadings over metropolitan Phoenix observed July 6 from NASA, Terra/Aquamotus, aerosol optical depth retrievals, AOD greater than 0.8. Remnants of haboob transported northwest of Phoenix, July 6 at 2 to 4 kilometers above ground level based on Calliope vertical feature masks and high split back trajectories. Dust storm's third leading cause of weather-related fatalities behind extreme heat/cold and flash flooding in Arizona. Dust storm modeling identified 2 hotspots for motor vehicle collisions. Intersection of Interstate 8 and Interstate 10 near Casa Grande. Intersection of Interstate 10 and Interstate 17 in Phoenix. Study of haboob events from 2009 to 2017 found 111 haboobs meeting inclusion criteria. Maximum number in single year was 23 in 2011, minimum 3 in 2010, mean 12 per year. Greatest number happened July 33, followed by August 29 and September 21. Analysis revealed frequency of motor vehicle collision-related injuries decreased during 6-hour period following haboob onset by approximately 17%. Large haboob-linked multi-car collision in 2011 led to collaborations. Arizona Department of Transportation, National Weather Service, Arizona Department of Public Safety, Governor's Office of Highway Safety, rolling out Pull Aside, Stay Alive campaign. Public safety messaging changed driver behavior. People learned, when wall of dust hits, you pull over, turn off lights, take foot off brake, stay alive. Phoenix dust storm popularized term haboob throughout America. About 50% of dust storms in Phoenix area qualify as haboobs, according to a 1972 article published by American Meteorological Society. Wall or cloud of dust qualifies event as haboob. July 5, storm truly epic. Storm chaser from Arizona who served in Iraq said he hated haboobs there. Huge storms of blinding sand, choking dust, blasted equipment, endangered helicopters, relief to finish hitch, return home to Phoenix. Then haboob followed him, attacked Arizona. For 45 minutes, Phoenix devoured by giant storm. Mile high, 100 miles wide, moving 60 miles per hour. Then, like all storms, it blew away. People cleaned everything up. But anyone who saw that wall approaching never forgot. Nature proving dust can swallow even modern cities. Even temporarily. At noon, peak exploded. Propelled 10-mile mushroom cloud, 16 kilometers of ash and pumice into stratosphere. Plinian eruption. Named after Pliny the Younger, who witnessed and documented it. Most violent type of volcanic eruption. Explosive, catastrophic. For next 12 hours, volcanic ash and hail of pumice stones up to 3 inches, 8 centimeters diameter showered Pompeii, forcing city's occupants to flee in terror. Roads clogged with refugees, carrying valuables, dragging children, panic everywhere. Some 2,000 people stayed. Holed up in cellars or stone structures, hoping to wait out eruption. Roofs collapsing under weight of ash and pumice, buildings crumbling, some crushed by falling debris, others trapped inside as doorways blocked by accumulation. Westerly wind protected Herculaneum from initial stage. City, 4 miles 6 kilometers closer to volcano than Pompeii, but wind direction saved it temporarily. Then, giant cloud of hot ash and gas surged down western flank. Pyroclastic surge, temperature of 500 degrees Celsius, 932 degrees Fahrenheit. Moving at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. Engulfing city, burning or asphyxiating all who remained. Death instantaneous. No time to react, no time to run. Lethal cloud, followed by flood of volcanic mud and rock-bearing city. Herculaneum buried deeper than Pompeii. 60 feet, 18 meters of material. Later excavation more difficult. Harder material, like concrete. People who remained in Pompeii killed morning of August 25 when cloud of toxic gas poured into city. Suffocating all that remained, 4th and 5th pyroclastic surges hit Pompeii. Temperatures 300 degrees Celsius, 572 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot enough to boil water instantly, hot enough to ignite wood, hot enough to kill in fraction of second. Pliny the Younger witnessed from across Bay of Naples, staying in Misenum with his mother. 18 miles, 29 kilometers from volcano, only 17 years old at time. Later became noted Roman writer and administrator. Described how people covered heads with pillows, only defense against shower of stones. Dark and horrible cloud charged with combustible matter suddenly broke and set forth. Some bewailed own fate, others prayed to die. Earthquake accompanied eruption, violent shaking throughout region. Buildings already weakened by ash load collapsed from seismic activity. Recent archaeological evidence shows at least 2 victims crushed by collapsing buildings during earthquake. Not volcanic activity alone, multiple hazards. His uncle Pliny the Elder, less lucky, 55 years old, commander of Roman fleet in Bay of Naples, natural historian. Author of Natural History, 37-volume encyclopedia. Took boats across Bay to Stabiae to investigate and reassure citizens. After going ashore, overcome by toxic gas, and died. Body found 2 days later, relatively unmarked. Suffocation, not burning. According to Pliny Younger's account, eruption lasted 18 hours. Pompeii buried under 14 to 17 feet of ash and pumice. Nearby seacoast drastically changed. Herculaneum buried under more than 60 feet of mud and volcanic material. By 2003, approximately 1,044 casts made from impressions of bodies in ash deposits recovered in and around Pompeii, scattered bones of another 100, remains of about 332 bodies found at Herculaneum, 300 in arched vaults discovered 1980. Total number of fatalities remains unknown. Estimates place death toll in region of 13,000 to 16,000, one of most lethal volcanic events in history. 38% of 1,044 found in ashfall deposits, majority inside buildings. Remaining 62% lay in pyroclastic surge deposits, which probably killed them. Recent study says most died instantly of extreme heat. Many casualties shocked into sort of instant rigor mortis. Volcanologist Giuseppe Mastrolorenzo and colleagues analyzed layers of buried volcanic ash and rock, fed data into computer simulation. Concluded volcano produced 6 different pyroclastic surges. Fast-moving ground-hugging waves of hot, toxic gases and ash. 4th surge hit Pompeii. Temperatures outdoors and indoors rose to 300 degrees Celsius or higher, enough to kill hundreds in fraction of a second. Bone studies confirmed. Researchers heated bone samples of freshly dead modern humans and horses, compared results to bones of Pompeian victims. About 3/4 of known victims frozen in suspended actions. Show evidence? Sudden muscle contractions, curled toes. Contorted postures, not effects of long agony but of cadaveric spasm, consequence of heat shock on corpses. There was no time to suffocate. City that thrived. Population estimates vary, but at least 10,000 to 20,000 residents. Wealthy seaside resort. Frozen in time, never rebuilt. Lay buried under ash dust and rock, forever preserved. Accidental rediscovery in 18th century. Italian archaeologist Giuseppe Fiorelli realized voids in layers of ash were spaces left by decomposed human bodies, invented technique injecting plaster into them, bringing to life in vivid detail people of Pompeii in final desperate moments. While not technically a dust storm, the principle remains. Nature can bury entire cities under particulate matter in hours. Whether that matter is wind-driven soil or volcano-expelled ash, the result is same. Total burial. Mass death. Civilization ended. Not invasion alone. Climate. Cities can disappear under sand over time. Lulan, on Silk Road, buried gradually after deforestation, removed natural anchors. Process took centuries, but result absolute. Complete burial. Complete loss. Modern cities are not immune. Black Sunday, 1935, and May 1934. Storms proved dust can travel thousands of miles, bury farms, kill hundreds, choke entire urban centers from Chicago to Washington, D.C. Proved distance provides no protection. Even in 21st century Phoenix Haboob in 2011 showed mile-high wall of dust can swallow major metropolitan area. Population 1.4 million people. Zero visibility. Thousands without power. Flights grounded. Commerce halted. And volcanic ash, though not wind-driven dust, proves particulate burial can freeze city in time instantly. Pompeii, under 14 to 17 feet, 4 to 5 meters. Herculaneum, under 60 plus feet, 18 plus meters. 2,000 dead in Pompeii alone. 13,000 to 16,000 total in region. Fraction of second. The pattern is clear, unmistakable. When humans remove vegetation that anchors soil, disaster follows. Acadians did not cause the drought, but the agricultural system they built made them vulnerable. Lulan's deforestation triggered gradual burial. Great Plains farmers plowed up grasslands, created Dust Bowl. When drought strikes, exposed land becomes weapon. Not potential weapon, actual weapon, launched by wind. When wind picks up walls of dust form, height measured in thousands of feet. Width measured in tens of miles. Speed measured in dozens of miles per hour. Traveling faster than you can run, higher than you can see, denser than you can breathe. Mass measured in millions of tons. These 7 events span 4 millennia. From Akkadian collapse 2200 BC to Phoenix Haboob 2011 AD. 4,200 years. 7 continents. Multiple civilizations. Same pattern. Same result. Archaeology proves it beyond doubt. Radiocarbon dating. Stratigraphic analysis. Artifact distribution. Settlement patterns. All confirm. Climatology confirms it independently. Ice core data. Cave deposits. Coral records. Pollen analysis. Tree rings. Multiple lines of evidence converging. Historical records document it in writing. Cuneiform tablets from Mesopotamia. Chinese chronicles. American Weather Bureau logs. Newspaper accounts. Eyewitness testimony. Contemporary witnesses filmed it. Photographs from Dust Bowl. Video from Phoenix. Satellite imagery. Data does not lie. Pattern unmistakable. How many other cities lie buried under sand in deserts we have not fully explored? Question haunts archaeologists. Karakum Desert in Turkmenistan holds ancient settlements being slowly swallowed. Gonardepe, dating to 2300 BC, excavated since 1972. Covered 30 hectares at peak, 7.4 acres urban area, another 10 hectares necropolis. City flourished for 600 to 800 years, then abandoned around middle of 2nd millennium BC. Why abandoned? Climate change, desertification, water sources failed. But how many more cities like Gonur exist? Murghab River Delta once supported more than 300 identified Bronze Age sites. 300 identified. How many unidentified? Satellite imagery shows anomalies. Ground-penetrating radar shows structures. But excavation costs money, takes time. Requires expertise. Sahara Desert covers area size of United States, 9.2 million square kilometers, third largest desert in the world. How many settlements buried there? We know some. Kingdom of Kush, Garamonte civilization, both left traces, both partially excavated. But Sahara is vast. Most unexplored. Sand dunes hundreds of feet high, shifting, covering, revealing, hiding again. Gobi Desert in Mongolia and China. 1.3 million square kilometers. Fifth largest desert. Ancient cities documented in Chinese records. Locations lost, buried under sand. Taklamakan Desert where Lulan sits. 337,000 square kilometers. Second largest sandy desert. Name means place of no return in Uyghur, or place of ruins, or you go in, you do not come out. All translations fitting. Arabian deserts, Rub al Khali. Empty quarter. Largest continuous sand desert in world, 650,000 square kilometers. Ubar found there using satellite imagery in 1992. Space archaeology, shuttle imaging radar, detected ancient caravan routes under sand. Convergence pattern led to site. How many other sites remain hidden? All contain ruins, some discovered, most still hidden. Underground, waiting. Satellite imagery using synthetic aperture radar can detect buried structures. That is how Ubar was found. That is how other sites will emerge. But until excavation occurs, we cannot know full extent. July 25th, 2024, massive dust storm hit Yazd province, Iran. Visibility dropped to 500 meters, multiple cities affected. August 2023 dust storm in northern China affected Beijing and surrounding areas. Particulate matter levels spiked. Health warnings issued. March 2023 dust storm in United States affected multiple states from New Mexico to Great Lakes. Dust bowl conditions re-emerging in some areas. In Mary Province, Turkmenistan, near ancient Merv, archaeologists continue finding evidence not just of cities buried by sand, but of sophisticated hydraulic systems designed specifically to combat dust storms and desertification. Ancient peoples knew. They built accordingly. Canals, reservoirs, cisterns, green belts of vegetation, walls oriented to block prevailing winds. These were not primitive societies helpless against nature. These were advanced civilizations, fighting dust with engineering. When those systems failed or were abandoned, the cities fell. Merv at its height was a city of 200,000 people, one of most heavily populated settlements in the world during Seljuk period. Then, water systems failed. Sand moved in, population left. By time, archaeologists arrived ruins buried under sand, slowly being excavated, slowly revealing how to survive in dust storm country. Plowing up Great Plains grasslands was human choice. Those choices had consequences. 850 million tons of American topsoil blown eastward. 3 centuries of dust at Tel Leyland. Lowland buried for millennium. Cities do not have to fall to dust. But when humans ignore the balance between land use and land preservation, dust will rise. When dust rises, it travels. When it travels, it buries. When it buries, cities disappear. That is what happened. That is what is documented. That is what remains possible. The 7 events described here represent a fraction of dust storm disasters in human history. More will be discovered. More will occur. Nature holds the soil. Wind moves it. Humans decide whether vegetation anchors it or bare fields release it. Choose wisely. The wall of dust is always forming somewhere, always ready to move, always capable of swallowing everything in its path. You have been warned by history. Listen.